In this tutorial, I will be using Adobe XD. Let's start by creating an artboard, and for this tutorial, I'm using 920 by 1080p artboard. And by the way, you can change your artboard from here. You can resize it manually, or you can just create another one by selecting the one you want from here. And the most comfortable one for me is 1920 by 1080, but you can also go 1366 by 768 if you have a smaller screen, if you're working for example on a laptop. But anyways, let's begin. What I want to do in this tutorial is I want to create a high fidelity mockup for my new WordPress theme that I created, and I want to sell or give away for free. I haven't yet decided on what to do. I just want to create a quick sales page that I can use the advertiser theme and show people what the theme is about. So the first thing I like to do is let's zoom out by Control and minus on the keyboard, and if you double click on the artboard you can scale it down by dragging down. And the first thing I usually like to do is come up with the content. So what I like doing is I like browsing the web to get inspired, find some ideas, see what other people are doing, and just come up with the best solution from a problem. So I went out and I created some content. Instead of me doing the work on piece of paper, I just like using XD, and the way I do it is actually just by using the rectangle tool and the text tool. What I do is I usually do a quick mock-up just like this. So I'll create a square and I would say, okay, this is gonna be my hero image. And then inside the hero image, I actually want a demo of the WordPress theme, and I want some text. So something like, let's say, if I bump up the size. So I want a quick sales page, and also I want a quick explanation about the WordPress theme. So I've come up with something like, in fact I'm gonna go and copy and paste it from my document, just make this smaller. So I'll have something like lightweight minimalist WordPress theme for bloggers and podcasters. Don't let complicated WordPress themes and editors stop you from getting started. So this will be my pitch. And then I decided that I'm gonna go for, I want a download button, and also thinking to create a video about the theme, kind of like advertising it. So what I would usually do is copy and paste some of the text. Just put, let's put free downloads, and I just want to mark down what I want to do. Watch YouTube video or prom video. By the way, all these details I can change later, and the beautiful thing about working in Adobe XD for me is that I can always swap things around, I can always change my mind and just mess around until I find the elements that worked well together for me. While on a piece of paper I always struggle. Yes, I come up with billion ideas, but then I want to stay focused at what I'm trying to achieve instead of coming up with millions of ideas. So if piece of paper works for you, then you can do that, but this is the way I do it. I just wanted to show you my process. So I would usually then create another box with another section, and for example in this section, by the way, you can also change the colors if you want, so they're not all the same, but usually I'll just copy, paste some text and write the rest of it. So for here I want to explain what you can do with the WordPress theme, and let's do something like, what can you do? The minimalist theme is the name of the theme, by the way. So I would have something like this, and I would copy some more text, giving it a little bit more explanation. So maybe like the something like this. I'm not great at writing, but I think this is okay for the demo here. And then I want to kind of illustrate what the theme does. I was thinking of using some simple icons in here. So for example, I would have something like a build a website, and then what I would do is I would copy and paste this a few times, and I think I'm gonna need 4 of them. And as you can see, I'm not aligning anything yet. I'm just building up the content, see what I want to put. So start a blog. Maybe you can do start a podcast, and then open a store. Then I want to show a few demos, so I'm going to copy this section, paste it below, and we can change the color so it's slightly different if you want. And then I can copy the title from here, paste it, and just put demos, and that will be my title. Then again, I kind of want to keep the whole layout consistent, so I'm going to copy this text and paste it below. And of course, you can do this with Control and C to copy and Control and V to paste. And for the demos, I will put in or demos. We currently have a travel blog. And a podcast vlog, something like this. As I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then obviously I want to display some of the demos, and so for example, I want to display a picture of a demo here, and I want this to be clickable so people can go to the demo and view it. And then I'll have another one here, and if I decide to have a few more, maybe I can scale the boxes down and add 4 of them like this. You know, it depends of how many demos I have. Maybe I can do something like this, and that would work well. Then, because the WordPress theme is using the Gutenberg editor, I wanted to add another section just to give people the idea of like what Gutenberg is like. And I actually found this really cool demo by Gutenberg where you can go on the website and just preview it of kind of how it works. So what I was thinking is I was gonna do, let's say, Gutenberg, and then it's a whole new way to a WordPress. I think I actually saw this on the Gutenberg's website and I quite liked it. So then I want to display a little demo of what Gutenberg is for people, and I imagine this to be kind of like a GIF that you can just see the demo. And also don't forget that I wanted to, let's copy one of the buttons from above, and so I'll copy that button, paste it here, and what I wanted to do is do something like create a button, try Gutenberg. So that will work for me. And another section that I wanted to add, I wanted to add a section that explains the features of the website. So let's add a section here, copy the title from here, and the title and the text. And for the features, we'll have the title, and I actually haven't come up with the text below the features yet, so I'm just gonna leave this for now, just for the demo, and I might come up with something later, but that would do. And for the features, I actually want to keep the layout consistent. So what I was thinking of doing is copying them circles, and by the way, these circles I'm imagining to have icons in there. And let's copy this circle and paste one in here, and I was just imagining a few of them in here just like this. So I'm gonna use the repeater to repeat, I think 4 of them will do, and let's do 4 down as well. Let's ungroup that and just change them to see what we want. So for the first one I will do white plugin support. I think this is grouped. Okay, it's not grouped. Valid code, responsive design, powerful admin options. Then for the second row, I want to add SEO optimized. Social media integration. MailChimp support. The last one is the Gutenberg. Gutenberg editor, and as I said, these will be filled with icons. And let's move to the last section of this layout that I'm thinking to add. And for the last layout, I actually section, I'm going to copy this. For the last section, I want to add do you need help? So something like need help. Need help setting up your website. And then maybe because I will be using my WordPress to build this, I can use my contact. I can use a contact form that I can add in here, or maybe I can just say contact us, and I can just provide my email address. So email demo@rally.co.uk, and something like this will do. Basically, just throw in some ideas. If you don't like something, you can always change it. You can always mess around with the layout. Just try to imagine it, how it would work and look like. And I think for me that saves me a lot of time than messing around on paper. And also I can now actually create some more artboard, link them together, see how the website works, and go from there. So now it would be very easy for me to start working on this. I'm not going to be wasting time of figuring out what the content is going to be about, where things will go, and I can just start designing now. And I quite enjoyed the design process, so let's start doing that. And by the way, I just wanted to say that this is just a high fidelity mockup, and because I'm using WordPress, I've already got some icons loaded. I think they're font awesome, I'm not sure, but so I will be using them in the real project. But for this, I will just use some free icons from the internet. I'm not usually, you would want to get an icon pack that matches together, but for this project I'm just gonna build up something that looks decent, and I'm just going to use this to build in WordPress in the next tutorial. So I don't know if you noticed, but on my desktop I've created some project files already. So I've downloaded some icons, and I will link the websites below so you can download some of the icons. They're all SVGs, so they're scalable and they look good. And also for the main image, let me have a look. Ruddy brand, marketing, copyright photos. For the main image, I'm actually using an image that I created. I'm actually using an image that I took a few years back in Bulgaria while I was skiing. So, and the reason that I'm using this is because I'm not actually allowed to use Shutterstock, just because if this channel gets monetized one day, just because of copyright issues, I don't want to use any of the images. Could use on splash.com, but then I just like this image anyway, so I think this one works for me. And yeah, so let's begin. The first thing I'm going to do is drag this image into my document. And because I've already created this rectangle shape, I can just drop the image in here and it's just gonna take the full size of the rectangle. But notice that we have the border in here, so I'm gonna remove the border quickly. And I want this to be full screen, and full screen means up to this line here. Before I continue here, I just wanted to stick to my branding guides that I made. And on my website, I'm actually using two main fonts. I use Work Sans for the main headings, and I usually use bold for the main headings, and something like 64 will do. And maybe just we can go for solid black, or maybe a less of a black if you like. I'm not gonna spend too much time worrying about the little details, because as I said, because I will be building this in my WordPress theme, the titles and the text will take the styles of the current website, which is great. And the second font that I'm using for the paragraph text is, sorry, the second font I'll be using is again Work Sans, but this time I will be going through medium. And let's put bold in here so you can just see. And let's change this to medium from here. And I will be using this for the second headings. So these ones, these will be acting like H2 tags. And this might be my H1 tag. So this is my second heading. And maybe we can do something like this, H1, H2. And for the paragraphs, what I'll do is I'm gonna use the Open Sans, and that would be regular. Open Sans regular, and that could be obviously a lot smaller, something like 22 would do the job. Okay, I think that's great. If you want to add those styles in our assets, we can just select on them and we can do just character styles and then add another one and then add another one, and then that would make things a lot easier when we convert the text. And also we can make some components. So for example, the buttons on my website are actually red. So what I would do, so the red color that I'm using on my website is E62739, and I believe that all of my buttons have a little bit of shadow. They have a little bit of the corners around it a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to mimic them as quick as possible, but I'm not gonna spend too much time worrying about them because they're obviously gonna take the styles of my website. Then of course we're gonna have some text, let's say free download, and we can convert this text to white and add another one. I can copy this and convert it to a component, or maybe I can just even just have an empty one. Let's have an empty one as well, just in case. And also I want to do exactly the same thing with them too. I will copy and paste them, and I just want to create, let's ungroup. I wonder whether this is still part of the comment. Okay, so I want to make a black button as well for the YouTube here, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously we can always change them, and I'm going to create a black button component, and I'm going to create one with the text just in case. See how that goes. For the colors, I'm thinking of using this color, which is not fully black but it's close to it, 1A, 1A, 1A. So we can add this if you like, and also we can add the red if you like, and we can add, no, that would be fine. We don't need anything else, I think. So now we have a little kind of like a branding guides in here. We can use them. Obviously we created the styles for the heading, and what I can do is click on this text. I can just select the big heading in here and that would do the job. I can do the same for the paragraph text. I can just click on the paragraph here and that will take the style of what we created, which is super awesome. And I can just go down actually and do the same for all of them. I can just do this and keep on doing that. And I know I probably should have done this to start with, but it's one of them things that you just don't think about sometimes. But as you can see, it's super easy with the styles anyway. It just takes a few clicks. So let me quickly do this, and you can kind of see how our website design is already starting to take some shape. But that's awesome. In fact, we can probably delete the free downloads and the watch YouTube video, and I can just drag a component here just like this, and I can just drag the black one as well with the text just like this. I'll probably change them later, we'll see how it goes. And by the way, I'm just gonna close the assets menu just because I want to have a little bit more real estate to work on. So this is awesome. As you can see in this design, we are going to have a little bit of a problem with the text. This doesn't look very good. And if I was to turn this into white, obviously it's kind of like blending with the background. What I was thinking of doing is, I was actually thinking of creating another box above it, and I was thinking of creating a quick gradient. So I'm going to put this back by Control and the left bracket key, or Command and left bracket key on your MacBook. Then make sure everything appears on top, but I think some of the other elements are white, so that's probably not gonna happen. Okay, that's good. So it's below every other element, but it's on top of the actual image below. And what I was thinking is, if you click on fill and then linear gradient, we can just do a gradient just like this, like a one that is an angle, and I've already prepared my colors in here. So the color on the right, sorry, the color on the left, I want it to be S5FFF9, which is this very light blue, and the color on the right will be a darker blue, which is 007BB2. So something like this will do the job. I actually want to see the image on the background, so what I will do is put the opacity down, something to around 90 will do the job, and you can see the image a little bit. I don't know, we can go more if you like. I mean, something like this looks okay. And also, I'm thinking of changing this text to white now. We can, to make this text stand out, we can always give it a little bit of shadow, just like this, and the default shadow is actually pretty good. The white position is 3, the blur is set to 6, and the hex is set to black, and the alpha, the opacity, or I think it's called alpha, isn't it, is set to 16. I think this works for me. What I want to do is, obviously I want to replace this with something else. Before I do that, let's concentrate quickly on the buttons. For the buttons, I've actually downloaded a few icons, so let me see if I can find them quickly. Let me drag them around here. Okay, so we have all the icons, make them smaller, and let's drag them around here. And if you want to space your icons equally, you can do that, something like this. That didn't work very well, but you get the point. Okay, there's some of the icons are super small for some reason, so let's just find where they are. And okay, I think the YouTube icon needs to be a little bit bigger so we can see it. And okay, that's cool. So we have every single icon that we need, I think. And for the downloads, obviously I was thinking of using this one, so I will copy and paste quickly, and I will convert this to white, just like this. And I don't know whether to center it or just have it here on the left side. I don't know, maybe like this. I don't think this looks right. Normally what I'll do is do something like this and make sure that the spacing on the left side in here is the same as the spacing on the right side in here, just like this. And I think this looks a little bit better. And what I can do is do the same for the watch. I'll do the same for the watch YouTube video, and for the watch YouTube video we can get this icon. I'll actually keep the color because it kind of works well with the red and the black. And what I would do is maybe just like double the size of between them, something like this. Select the button, move it around here, and obviously use the same spacing as on the left button to align the right button. And I actually didn't measure the space between them two elements, but I can do that super quickly, just like this. That would be okay. And I was actually almost there, and then I would just redo the space. Okay. is this correct? Okay. Just make sure everything is center aligned and remove the stuff around. So that's looking good. The next thing I wanted to do is we could use a grid for this to align everything, and if you want to use grid, double click on your artboard and click on the grid here, and maybe we can use this grid to align things better. But as I said, this is not a high fidelity design that you're gonna hand. Well, I'm not building a high fidelity design that I'm gonna hand off to a developer. I'm actually developing this myself on WordPress. Most of the styles are already preset, so maybe change a few of the elements, like the gutter width to 16, the column width to 122, and the margin set to 140. I think that gives me a little bit of margin on the sides, and maybe I can use this to just align all elements and make it look nice. And then I will just close the grid. Actually, let's add the grid again, so I can just, let's select all those elements without the elements at the bottom. I'll group them by Ctrl and G and just move them around here. And now that they're grouped, I can actually select the background below and make sure that they're centered on the page, which is awesome. So now I can hide the grid because it's a little bit annoying. And what I want to do is in here, I want to add a little demo of the website. So the demo at the moment is under the minimalist-theme.radi.co.uk. I haven't even added SSL yet, but what I've done is I've actually used this awesome screenshot plugin on Chrome, and you can get it on Firefox as well. And I've used this to take a screenshot of the website. So take a screenshot of the entire website, and then I actually used this image to, and I added this image into a iPhone mockup that I will be using right now. And by the way, just Google free mockups online, free iPhone mockups, and there are tons of them that you can use. So the one that I liked the most for this project was this one here. Actually, it's this one here, I believe. So let me add it to the, let me add it in here. I just dropped it, and obviously we're gonna have to make it a little bit smaller, just like this, and maybe align it with the grid to the, actually something like this would be okay. Let's hide the grid. And I quite like this. It shows a little demo of the website, and it would be quite nice if this actually was animated, but I don't know if I would go that far. We'll see when I start developing the website. And also, let's make this a little bit more interesting, and I'm gonna add, with the ellipse tool, I'm gonna add a circle in here just like this, and I'm gonna use the red color from our palette that we created earlier and remove the border. And I was thinking that I can actually do a gradient that is on angle again, and let me pick the color, the red color again, and I think the colors are swapped, but instead of the dark color, I was thinking of, actually I want this color to be on the right side. Can I not swap them? Oh, that's weird that you can't swap them, but anyways, I wanted this color to be on the right side here. So let's do that, and I wanted this color to be a light color, maybe even white would do. Then what I was gonna do is put the opacity right down, just like this, and usually you can cut this using the, in fact let's do it like this. You can cut it, if you select both shapes, you can actually cut it from here. Excuse me, it's actually the second one, and I can do the same for this if you don't want it to get in the way. But then the gradient obviously changes a little bit, and I don't like the way it's working, so maybe this shouldn't be fully white. Maybe it should be like something like this. Okay, and I think this might work okay. And what I was gonna do is put this on the background just like this. It makes it a little bit more interesting, and we can actually make the circle a little bit bigger. Okay, So we're actually done with the top bit of the sales website, and we can continue with the second section. So luckily here we've already got the styles done. So what I can do is I can actually remove the background because I don't need it, but I also want to center all this. So I can use the background color, the image here on top, and center everything, and then just make sure that the text is nicely spaced out. You don't want it to be too far, or you don't want it to be too close, but something like this would do. And then I want to start adding my icons, and I've already got the text for this, which is great. So I can actually go to my assets and just add the text. In fact, I don't have this. I like this style, but I think this is far too small. So maybe let's go to 30, and I'm just gonna add another asset in here. And by the way, you can double click and rename them circles and so on, but I won't be renaming them now, just so we don't waste any more time. So let's apply this style on every single element in here, and it was the circus one. And in fact, this makes the work a little bit harder, because what I can do is create. Let me see how to tackle this. I'm thinking of making this, first of all, I'm thinking of making this blue, something like this that matches. And let's remove the border. And for the first one, by the way, let's center line this. And for the first one, we need to find the website icon, which is this one. I'm thinking of using something like this would do. And let's change the color to white. And I think this is actually looking quite nice. So there are two ways of doing it. I can either apply the same styles as this and align them right now. Or I can just duplicate this by using the repeater grid. I don't know which one is faster, but I'm just gonna use the repeater grid, I think, and just type these in here. So, and also I'm gonna switch on the grid by double clicking on the artboard, and because we have 4 and we have 12, I believe, 1 2 3 4 5 8 9 12. So if we divided the 12 by 3, then it means we can use 3 of the grids in here for each element. So like I would normally do something like this, and this needs to be obviously center aligned, and the icon can be grouped and center aligned with the text. And now that we're using 3 of the grids, I can do repeat grids, do this, and just make sure that the margin between them kind of aligns just like this, and they were in the middle. As I said, it's not a big deal if they're 1 pixel off, but we're not handing this to a developer. I'm doing it myself, so I can be. But if you want to present this to a client, obviously spend your time to do it properly. And now let's just quickly change the wording. Start a blog, and I'm actually thinking let's put dot and start a podcast dot and start a store. Okay, and obviously I can now ungroup these. Actually, yeah, there was another one that I didn't see in here, but I can just delete it now. And if I double click on the artboard, remove the grid, and I can just start replacing the icons. And for the blog icon, I've got the WordPress here. Change it to white, of course. I will zoom in and make it so the size actually matches with the other icons. The only problem, I think these are all grouped, so I can maybe ungroup them for a sec and just make sure everything aligns. And the problem with these icons are that they don't all match, and they don't look as nice as if I was using a proper icon pack, or if I designed them myself. So they're all gonna look slightly different, but it doesn't matter too much, as at the end of the day I will be using the font icon pack on my website anyway. And the podcast icon, let's replace that super quickly. Ungroup, remove, paste, change the color, make sure it kind of like it's the same size as the other icons. I think that will work. Align there in the center and continue with the next icon, which is store. And for the store, because WordPress uses WooCommerce, this is what I will be adding. And I need to convert all of this to white and have it around here. And obviously we can remove the WooCommerce, not remove it, but change this color to be as the background color, just to make it look a little bit better. Just like this. And we are pretty much done with this section. This is starting to look good. And another thing I want to make sure is that the spacing between these elements here and the elements at the bottom, I would like to keep it similar like this. Okay, for the demo section, I've already done the headings, so let's make sure that they are center aligned. And also now I actually want to keep the same distance between the top heading and the paragraph in here with them too. So what I can do is, to save time, I'm going to copy demo, paste demo. I'm going to copy the text from here and paste it here, and I'll remove those two and just center align them two. So now I know that the spacing between them is exactly the same as the spacing between the top two. I can move the square to the left because I accidentally moved it. The other thing, obviously, let's make sure that the space is equal. Something like this. Go down. And that would work. And I've already have 2 demo websites that I've created, but I want to create a few more later on. I'm just thinking, let's add 2 demo websites for now, and let me drag them from my folder. So the first one is here. It's this one, and I've actually created them here on the side. So what I would do is, to save a little bit of time, is I would go ahead and actually copy and paste them, but it's basically just 2 images that I've prepared from the demos, and I will just make sure that they are aligned with the grid, which let me remove everything here. From here, remove all this, maybe move all the sections a little bit down, and just like this. Okay, I think this works well. If we add the grid, I can now align them to the grid just like this, and they don't fit exactly to this grid, but that would be okay. And I want to make sure that, in fact, I quite like the spacing between them, but let's see what happens if we use the same spacing from here with them like this. I think this would look okay actually. And let's remove the grid so we can see better. Obviously we need to remove the border from this, and instead of having a pink, let's have it as a slight gray color. FB, FB, FB. I think this would be okay. Make sure that the space between the bottom elements is again equal, just to be consistent, just like this. Okay, and for the Gutenberg, I've already downloaded an image again, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste this image as well. But originally my idea was to make an animated GIF, which I will do when I'm developing the website. So for now, let's replace this, and let's copy the demo web text and paragraph in here. And what I'll do is just replace Gutenberg and replace the text, just so we again have the same spacing between the elements, just like this. And that's awesome. Obviously we can kind of like center, because we have 12 columns, we can center align the box here between 6 of the columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's already a line between them, and we can do exactly the same thing with the Gutenberg. Align this somewhere around here. We don't have to be precise here, super precise, but something like this would work. And also try Gutenberg. I can add one of the buttons from my library here, and I quite like the black button here, so let's use that and just add try Gutenberg. Okay, make sure that the button is together with those two elements. Remove the grid, and this doesn't look super exciting, but maybe I can spice it up when I'm developing it. It might need a little bit more text, or maybe a pattern, or I think a little bit more text or explanation would do. But let's move on now to the features, and let's make sure that the spacing between these elements here is the same as this, and I think that's correct. And also I will do the same for the bottom, make sure that the features start from here. And for the features I will use the same gray color, just so we have a little bit of separation. It's not much, but it's a little bit of separation between the sections. And let's remove the border as well, and let's copy the text from Gutenberg, paste it in here, and just swap it super quickly. Features, center line with the actual section. Remove this, remove that. And what I want to do now is copy this sort of style below. So what I'll do is copy this one, the first one, paste it in here, and I can just move them slightly for now, just so they don't get in the way. Something like this would do, and put them at the top so I can read what they say. In fact, I'm gonna have to extend the artboard a little bit more, but you can kind of tell what they say. Let's move this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is build a quick grid of 4 columns and 2 rows, and if I align this to the actual grid, that would make things a lot easier. So it's already actually aligned. I wanted to make sure that the spacing between the let me see, these elements, it's the same, so I don't have to move them later. So I think yeah, I think something like this would work. And now I can use the repeat grid to create a few more. That's brilliant. And obviously we need to change the margin a little bit to 27, I think works well. And let's do another row in here, and I don't know whether I want a little bit more space between them. I can mess around later, but I think this would do well. So then I can ungroup the grid, and I think I've missed 2 more in here again, so I'm going to delete them, remove the grid so I can see slightly better, and I'm going to ungroup everything so things are easier to edit. And what I'll start doing is, let's ungroup again, because some of the other elements are grouped, I think. Yep, so let me start by deleting some of the icons. In fact, I could have done this to start with. And let me change the text super quickly. So Gutenberg editor, remove all this as we won't need anymore. And actually I don't know what happened with the background color, but that's okay, I can add it in a sec. In fact, I can just copy this one, paste it, and just make sure that I'll put it at the back, and you can do this with Control and the left bracket, or right click, arrange, send to back. And obviously I want to keep everything consistent with the spacing, so let me do this super quickly right now. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but I think, I don't know if this is correct now, so let me check. Okay, this is not correct, so something like this will do. Now I can actually click on this element, and if you go to your layers panel, you can select the object and you can actually put the padlock on, which means now we can't mess around with this anymore. We can't drag it out. And what I'll do is now I can select all the icons, move them down here so they align well, and now I'm actually going to need to unlock it to pull it back up. And now if I select it again, go to layers and lock it, that would be perfect. Let's remove the layers panel and continue with replacing the icons. So for valid code, I just got, let me move all the icons below so they're easier to select. And for the code, I'm using this in here, convert it to white, make sure it's similar size to the planet in here, and center align it to the actual circle, and continue doing this for the rest. So I'm gonna stop talking now and just quickly do that. So we can remove those icons as we won't need them anymore. We could have added them to our assets, but I didn't do that because that would add a little bit more time. And I think this is looking great so far. By the way, make sure you save your work while you work, Ctrl+S. And for the final section, I was thinking of using another nice image in here just for the neat help setting up your website. So let's enter this super quickly, and maybe let's see what images I have. And I actually don't have a good image for this yet, so let's see if I can reuse this one for now. And what I was gonna do is copy the exact same gradient from here and use that. And in fact I might go, okay, let's see how this looks to start with. I think this might do the job, but it's not ideal. And I'm gonna change this to white, make sure that there is a little bit of drop shadow so the text pops out. And as I said previously, I'm either gonna have contact us just like this, contact us, and maybe like the hello@ruddy.co.uk. Make sure everything is center aligned. So I don't know whether on the website I'm gonna have this or I'm gonna just add a contact form, but you will find out in the next tutorial, I guess. So let me use the color from here. Actually, I don't want all this. I just want the ruddy.co.uk to be that color. But obviously it's not listening to me, so let's see if I can select it manually. And it's 1A, 1A, 1A. Yeah, that worked. I think this will be okay. Maybe we can make it red. Whatever works. If I group those two together, I can now align them in the center of this image. And this looks great. So let me go down. Okay, and let's see what we have so far. So if I preview this on desktop, this is what we're having so far. Premium, minimalistic, personal WordPress theme. And I would actually love to do a little bit more with the text in here. Maybe try a few different fonts or highlight premium and WordPress theme. And maybe I can explore this in a second. Then we have what can you do with the minimalist theme, a few demos that I'm going to add, then the Gutenberg demo, some features that are looking cool. And if you need help, then you can contact me for my services and pay for me to make this template work for your website, I guess. And let me have a look how far we've gone on this. So okay, we're already over an hour, and I would love to do the mobile version. And what we can do for the mobile version actually is create a new artboard. And I usually use the iPhone XS because there is a lot of mockups that you can use for that. And what I can do is I can copy some of the elements that I need from here, just like this. Make sure I don't mess around with my design, and I'm gonna scale down this image super quickly. I'm not gonna do the full layout, I just wanted to show you how to get started with this. So I'm gonna do the gradient in here, and then what I can do is copy some of this text, paste it in here, and this might be, I don't know, I think this might be a little bit too big, so maybe I can go down with the size just like this. And in fact, let's turn this text into area text, shrink it down a little bit just like this. Obviously make sure it's center aligned with everything, and let's see if I can do this. As you can see, the text is a little bit boring just like this, so maybe I can experiment with different font styles or different colors like this. I don't know if this will work. I mean, it looks okay. I have to play around with it a little bit more. Let's add this text as well in here, and I think the size of this text might be just okay, so I'm gonna make sure it aligns well just like this. And obviously copy the buttons, and for the buttons I would normally, I think we're missing the icon, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do it super quickly like this. Free download, and I would do exactly the same with the black button. Align it just like this. Make sure that the text is aligned as well. And obviously you can add the icons if you like or not. That could go down a little bit, maybe just like this, and start formatting it so it works well on mobile. And then obviously the phone will be hard to fit, so you might have to miss this, but we can definitely fit the circle so we can be consistent. Maybe like this. Let's have a look how it looks, and you just have to experiment sometimes and see how it goes. And obviously if you want to extend your artboard, you can just double click on it and extend it a little bit, and so on. So I would basically do the same for all the other elements and build a mobile version as well. Then build it using whatever you're using, HTML, CSS, or if you're using WordPress with an editor, just use your editor, and so on. So this was the mockup, the high fidelity mockup that I wanted to show you. All those design tutorials have take far too long to create, and I don't realize because I've loved the design bit. But anyways, I hope you learned something. Please subscribe to my channel because it would help me a lot. It means a lot to me. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, obviously comment below, because I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And also, if you have any ideas for future tutorials, I would be more than happy to listen to what you have to say and what you want to see next time. And again, thank you very much for staying with me. My name is Raddy, and you just watched my channel, Raddy the Brand.